Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a whole new episode of your program Windows. Today's episode is only dedicated to a very special occasion for the Islamic world. It is Eid al-Adha al-Mubarak, and to shed more light about the festives and the rituals and to know more about this special occasion, I'm so delighted to be accompanied here in the studio by Dr. Ahmed Farrag, the Islamic researcher. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
It's a pleasure to have you, and wishing you all the best and wishing you a great Eid, inshallah.
Thank you.
Well, since we are a directive channel, so we need to know what is Eid al-Adha and what is the rituals and the festive that is associated to this occasion.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the especially merciful and the entirely merciful, and peace and prayer be upon his last messenger. First of all, I would like to thank the teamwork of Nile TV channel for this distinguished episode about Eid al-Adha, or the Grand Feast. Secondly, I would like to congratulate our dearest viewers for the approaching of Eid al-Adha, and happy Eid. As we know, in Islam there are two festivals, mainly the Grand Feast, Eid al-Adha, and it is linked with the sacrifice and the slaughter of an animal. And the second feast in Islam is the feast of Ramadan, after completing the fasting of the holy month. Actually, the Grand Feast is associated with many aspects in our daily life. Initially, Muslims try to fast during the day of Arafah, due to the fact that, this is according to the prophetic traditions, fasting the day of Arafah removes the sins and the faults of the current year, and for example the previous year. So Muslims start celebrating the approaching of Eid al-Adha by fasting the day of Arafat. Then they during that night, if they plan to offer slaughtering, for example, an animal, they prepare things, and they get ready to perform the prayer of the feast in the early morning. And for children, of course, they will think about the new clothes and the money they will get from their parents and relatives, and they will think about the plans of, for example, enjoying such vacation or holiday. And actually there are lots of activities related to this religious ceremony, and such activities, we can say that they reflect the devotion and the unity, and for example, the the happiness of the Islamic world due to the coming of the grand feast.
So you mentioned something very important. There's lots of rituals when it comes to Eid al-Adha, of course, and one of those rituals, as you said, is the fasting and the standing on Arafah. So can you tell us more? We start with the fasting because the non-pilgrims, the difference between fasting for the pilgrims and for non-pilgrims, people who wonder what is the difference, they will have the same reward from Allah, though they didn't do the pilgrims thing. So can you tell us more about the fasting, and then we'll go there. Speak about the other rituals.
Okay, the standing at Arafat is the main or the key pillar of performing or doing the Hajj, because in the prophetic tradition, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and prayer be upon him, said in what it means is that Al-Hajj Arafah. So, for example, if someone who's doing Al-Hajj and he couldn't stand at Arafah, in such case, his or her Hajj will be nullified. And the pilgrims in the Holy Lands are not required, unlike the other Muslims, they are not required to fast during Arafah, because they are very, very busy doing the rituals of Al-Hajj. But it is recommended for the non-pilgrims to fast, so they can start a new page with Allah Almighty without sins and without, for example, bad deeds. So the day of Arafah is very, very important for both the pilgrims and the non-pilgrims.
So one more thing is that we spoke about the rituals, and one of those rituals is the slaughtering, as you said, for animals. But people who's ignorant about Islam, they say this is such a crucial part of their rituals, and they don't understand the story behind that.
Yeah, of course, because they don't know, for example, why Muslims do such habit during the grand feast. Actually, the symbolism of such slaughtering gets back to the era of the father of the prophets, Abraham, or Ibrahim in Arabic, when he had a dream and he saw that he slaughters his son Ismail, peace be upon him. And then he was ordered to sacrifice a sheep instead of slaughtering his son. And actually he was in a test. So in such case, to be, for example, or to know how he would act in such, actually I will call it a disaster. The Prophet, and we know that if a certain prophet had a dream, and it's a kind of vision or a kind of revelation, and he should implement what he saw in the real life. So it's a kind of ancient sunnah, ancient tradition linked with the act of sacrificing during the era of Prophet Abraham, or Ibrahim in Arabic. And Muslims actually, and as we know, even the Kaaba was built by both the Prophet Ibrahim and his son Prophet Ismail. So just the Muslims revive or restore such sunnah to get rewarded and to acquire lots of good deeds, and to think about the hereafter and the day of judgment. If we look at the whole story, we will realize that the process of performing al-Hajj remind us with what will remind us with our final fate when we will be asked about our deeds, and we will wait for our fate, and we will wait for the judgment according to our deeds in this world.
So one of the things that Islam is such a beautiful religion, and we've seen lots of people being converting lately because of the criteria of this religion. So we need to know more about how can Islam, or how does Islam spreads peace, spreads humanity, spreads equality, and spreads the call for more good deeds and good aspects in life.
Actually, the message of Islam is a universal message, and Islam does not differentiate between people according to the race or the gender or the, for example, the social status and financial ability. All people are equal under the umbrella of Islamic Sharia, and they have the same rights. And one of the rights offered or guaranteed by Islamic Sharia is solidarity. And if we link this fact with the process of sacrificing and slaughtering an animal and distributing the meat to the poor and the needy, so in such a case the Muslims who are not able to, for example, enjoy a certain standard of living and buying the basic commodities like meat, and in such case they will find something offered to them for free during the grand feast, and as a result people will be united, will be satisfied, and this will enforce the social bonds in society. And of course, the final result would be, for example, prosperity and economic progress.
So one of the rituals also, as you said, is the prayers. What is the difference of the prayers of Eid and the normal prayers for Muslims?
Okay, as we know, the establishing prayers or doing the prayers, and I would like in this case to differentiate between supplication and prayer, because the supplication or under supplication we just ask Allah Almighty for something without doing any acts. But the prayer or salah, we perform certain movements and reciting certain verses from the Holy Quran, and we can also during the prayer to ask Allah for something. The Muslims are required to perform or to do 5 daily prayers, as we know, and they are a must. They are not, for example, but they are not sunnah, I mean, but the prayer of Eid al-Adha, the grand feast, it is, we call it in Arabic sunnah mu'akkada, so it is an affirmed sunnah. However, we are required to do it according to the prophetic tradition, but of course it doesn't equal the obligatory prayer. In the prayer of the grand feast or the feast of Ramadan, the prayer consists of 2 units, 2 rak'ahs, and there are a number of takbirat that should be said by the imam who leads the prayer, and also the persons led by him. The poor and needy. However, some people would prefer to distribute all the quantity of the meat to the poor and needy, because actually they do that to get rewarded, and because they would like to offer everything for the poor and the needy.
So we have different occasions, different Islamic occasions, and each one of them has its own criteria. We celebrate Ramadan, we celebrate Eid al-Fitr, we celebrate Eid al-Adha, we celebrate Yom Arafah.
Is a new Hijri year, and the birth of the birthday of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and prayer be upon him. Lots of religious ceremonies actually, and under each ceremony we can turn it to an event or festive, and we look forward to get lots of good deeds and to get rewarded by Allah Almighty.
And here in Egypt, always the festivals and the celebrations are totally different than other nations. We have our own spiritual and spirit also, different spirits, and when it comes to celebrating some holy occasions, I guess.
Of course, Egypt is unique in everything, even in celebrating the Eid al-Adha and the feast of Ramadan, and under every ceremony we, as we say, we can find the Egyptian touch actually.
So this also, each one of those, they spread a beautiful message. It's the gathering, it's the charity, prosperity, peace, and humanity, equality. So all those occasions, and the Islam itself spreads always positive messages, not only for the Muslims or the Islamic nations, but also for the whole world. So what do you think about that?
And as we know, the message of Islam is universal, and Islam does not address the Muslim people only. Actually, Islam looks at all humanity, all human beings, and it promotes the teachings of peace, cooperation, tolerance, lots of noble values, and the festive of the grand feast embodies such values that Islam attempts to spread them among people.
And also, for you, doctor, you've been interested with the Islamic research, and that wasn't your first studies, so what was for you very curious to know about Islam and researches and to read more about? And we don't want to get involved in too much info, but we just
actually, I was interested in the economic aspects related to the Islamic teachings, and one of them is how to achieve economic development in the Islamic world, and how, for example, the Muslim countries can benefit from the experiences of advanced countries. One of the main challenges we face in the Islamic world is poverty, and it is linked with unemployment and the low incomes, and as a result we can find many brackets. I mean the poor in society. They need, for example, financial support, and they need to be supported by providing in-kind assistance to them. And I can see the meat of the grand feast as a type of in-kind assistance to the needy and the poor, because they receive, for example, free meat, and even they can receive clothes and money. It's not just
it's spreading charity.
Yeah, we can offer lots of things to them. We can invite, for example, some people who are able to do so. They can invite a certain number of the needy and the poor, and cooking some meats and offering it to them.
This for me is very interesting, because you went through studying in the Islamic field, yes, but from another aspect, let's say. But also, let's go back. We have many prophets that they were working as merchants and the trade. So it goes back to there, and the principles they put since then, Umar al-Khattab and all of those. So I guess still going on with this criteria of the Islamic nation, and still this prosperity going on, and the needy people that we need to stand for, and all of us to be the voice of those who cannot speak for themselves.
Well, as we know, one of the five pillars of Islam is giving zakat. And giving zakat is a kind of financial assistance to the poor and needy. The wealthy persons are required to introduce or to offer 2.5% of their total wealth each year to the needy and the poor. And also after completing the fasting in Ramadan, Muslims are required to give zakat al-fitr to the needy and the poor. If we reflect on such practices in Islam, we would realize that Islam pays more attention to the poor and the needy, to guarantee a good standard of living for them.
It's always calling for equality, it's always calling for more charity, and it's always calling for solidarity, unity. So it's, I think all the messages are very beautiful when it comes to it. It shares everything. It shares economic part, it shares the family part, it shares the relation part. So how beautiful is that?
Yeah, of course. Even in Christianity, they have some things they called al-ashur, and it is paid or it is given to the poor and the needy to assist and support them financially. So it is the same thing. In such case, people under this heavenly religion assist each other, support each other, and the rich, for example, can sacrifice a certain amount of wealth or money to the needy and the poor.
One of the things that tackles the religion of Islam is also that we have 5 pillars. Some of them are a must do, and some of them that if you can do it. So this also gives kind of facilitation and flexibility also for all Muslims.
Actually, under each pillar, we can find exceptions, and we can find facilitation and flexibility. For example, let's talk first about the prayer. If we can't perform prayer as a standing man or a woman, we can do it
seated.
Yeah, by sitting down. It's not a problem at all. Full fasting, if I can fast during Ramadan due to being
medical issues,
sick or something like that, I can compensate such days later. With regard to performing al-Hajj, al-Hajj is required if the Muslim person is able physically and financially to perform the Hajj. If he or she can't perform the rituals due to a medical issue, he is not required to do the Hajj. If he has no money to go to the Holy Land and perform the Al-Hajj, in such case he will not be asked during the day of judgment, why didn't you perform the Hajj? Because he has a license, he has a kind of facilitation.
Like fasting too.
Like fasting, exactly.
If you have like issues and if you cannot,
yeah, if I can't,
diabetes or
exactly.
So what else that we can learn from prophets that can also give a message for today's youth?
From prophets?
Yes.
Okay, we learn a very important lesson. So devotion and the direct relationship between a servant and Allah Almighty, and the real success actually is a success in the hereafter, not in the current world. I mean, we should do lots of good deeds. We should assist the needy and the poor and be kind with them, and because we are looking forward to getting rewarded by Allah during the day of judgment. That's it.
One of the messages also that really I like about the Eid in general is the gathering, is the family gatherings. It's like sometimes you don't have time to keep up with the family visits or such, so, but it has its own ritual. It's like lunch with the family, and of course the rituals, the prayers, and then the family gathering.
And even after, for example, I'm talking about the grand feast Eid al-Adha, after performing the Salat al-Eid, the Eid prayer at the mosque, or people used to gather at home and have their breakfast, actually, and especially if they will have their breakfast after slaughtering their own animal, and in such case they will be happy because they will enjoy their, as you mentioned, their gathering, and they are ready, for example, to distribute the meat, and they will see the signs of happiness in the eyes of the poor who are waiting for such blessed day to receive this basic community, especially as we know, the prices are getting higher and higher in this community.
What is the remarkable situation that you do remember up till now in your lifetime, or maybe less, that you can share with us during Eid al-Adha Mubarak?
Actually, I remember lots of things, like, for example, being keen to look at the sheep we will slaughter during al-Udhiyah, and being happy with the new clothes, and of course waiting for al-Idiyah from my parents, and especially my late father, and the gatherings, and for example inviting inviting relatives, and for example, in the second day of the feast, they would invite us also, and so on. Lots of momentum, lots of social interaction, lots of happiness. Actually, I can say there are unforgettable moments.
So I think this also will be with you, and to be inherited, like the rituals of the family thing. Of course, we know that the rituals of Eid al-Adha, we all know it, but I mean, to inherit this habit, it's the habit itself. It's not just celebrating a holy occasion, but the habit of a repetitive visits and the gatherings.
Yeah, of course, actually. And the networking and the side talks, because for example, during such visits, I can meet new people and interact with them and discussing certain issues, whether religious or social. Actually, lots of activities related to this ceremony, actually.
Well, we want to keep this up because in this world, the busy world, the tech world, the AI world, we've been so busy with our devices, and we really miss the gatherings for the gathering and for celebrating together such occasions with the family, with the friends. And actually we make it as a cause that we need to go to this gathering, because it's not just an occasion, it's the feeling of that we're still celebrating it, though we live in a very busy world. I guess you're maybe facing this the same with your children.
Yeah,
and with
yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a good opportunity to have a leisure time. And some people, for example, spend the vacation of Al-Eid in a certain place with their own families, and enjoy doing certain activities. Being far away from the crowdedness of cities like Cairo and Alexandria.
Of course, and even people who lives abroad, I wish you all the best and a blessing, Eid, and may you be celebrating it nicely as you've been doing it in Egypt, and of course with this warmth of the family and the gathering itself. This is what we really so keen to just maintain, not to drop any time in any era of our age. And Doctor, you've given me such a good information. We wanted to talk about this a lot. And what a message that you want to say through our channel to our audience and to your family from here.
I would like to congratulate them for the grand feast, and I would like to tell them not to consume lots of meat and be moderate in our consumption.
It's the celebration. It's how we celebrate always with food. People, as Eid al-Fitr related to cakes and cupcakes, and our cakes and biscuits for the Eid, and also
and this Eid is related to the meat and kebab and all foods.
Poor mothers, they never take a break. It's Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr and then Eid al-Adha.
And there is a meal, there is a famous meal in Egypt, especially the fatta of the grand feast, or fatted Eid al-Adha.
Yes, I like the name. I like fatta, by the way. I adore fatta. And Dr. Ahmed, it was a pleasure for you to accompany me today and to celebrate together Eid al-Adha al-Mubarak.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm so blessed.
Happy Eid for you and your family.
Thank you so much. I've been accompanied today by Dr. Ahmed Farrag, the Islamic researcher. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today's episode. Promise we'll be back next week with more diverse segments. Until then, it's goodbye.